Hi, this is Stitch, and I'm Amanda, and we're going to talk about some tips and tricks on how to keep your dog's nails short while the groomers are all in quarantine. First things first, we need to pick a surface on where to do the nail trims. I'm lucky to have a grooming table, but you can use a regular table, a bench, a storage container, or the floor. Just make sure it's a non-slip surface. These are the basic tools you'll need. Something to stop the bleeding, a styptic powder, but if you don't have styptic powder, you can use cornstarch. I prefer plier nail trimmers. These are Miller Forge. There's also guillotine nail trimmers. It's helpful to have a second person who can hold and treat your dog while you clip their nails. If your dog is particularly fussy, they may need to hold the dog in a hug type position with their arm around their waist and their other arm around their chest, holding them close to their own chest. If you're alone, you can use other tricks like a manners minder to reward your dog and keep its focus while you do their nails. There's other things like a lick mat that you can use to smear peanut butter on to keep your dog's focus. If you don't have one of these tools, you could smear peanut butter right on your wall or on the surface you're using. Stitch here has both black and white nails. On the white nails, you can pretty easily see the quicks from the sides. On the black nails, it's a little more difficult. Sometimes you can see where the quicks are from underneath the nails. Not always, but usually there's a groove, and you can see just where the quick is growing. When you're clipping, just take slivers off at a time. That way, if you do go too short, you're not going to cause them to bleed too much. If they do bleed, it's not the end of the world. Just use a little bit of your styptic powder to stop the bleeding. Don't forget the dew claws. You want to round the edges to make sure you get close to the quick on all sides. When you see the black dot, that's when you've gotten close to the quick. Don't cut any further. If you do get some blood, just take a small pinch of your styptic powder and place it on the nail and hold it there for just a second in order to stop the bleeding. If you need to use the cornstarch, you may need to hold your finger there for a little while longer. You can also use a Dremel to file down the nails. This is my favorite Dremel, the Dremel Micro. It has a flashlight, and it has multiple speeds, and it's cordless and rechargeable. The nails need to be somewhat short in order to use a Dremel because the friction of extended use of time will heat up the nail and cause discomfort. I will usually clip and then round and smooth the edges with the Dremel afterwards. If you're using the Dremel frequently enough, you won't have to clip. I like to ideally use the Dremel once a week. Some dogs are more afraid of the Dremel because of the sound, but some dogs are more comfortable than using a clipper. Of course, always be careful when using a Dremel. I have gotten this Dremel caught in a tail once, and it turned off immediately on its own. Here's the after shot of Stitch's pedicure. You can see the quicks if you look closely. If nail trims are just not doable at home, you can make a homemade scratch board or buy one online. Take adhesive sandpaper or grip tape and attach it to a board or a half pipe. Here I'm teaching Stitch how to scratch. He already knows this command, but these are the steps that I use to teach it. I hide a treat under a mat, and I ask him to scratch on the floor. This is what it'll look like when you're finished teaching it. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something new.